we're going to start talking about specific glands and what each gland does. So we're getting more into the specifics today. So the first gland that we'll talk about is the thyroid gland, located in your neck, below the larynx. It consists of two sides or two lobes connected by the isthmus that's in the middle part of it. So structure, two secretory parts or secretion parts called follicles, and they're filled with a hormone storing colloid. So colloid is a chemistry term, which means it's a type of liquid, fairly
homogeneous.
Yep, it's a homogeneous liquid. So here's a picture that you can see. Here's that colloid, that liquid that's stored in these follicles, and that is inside. So the thyroid gland shape, a lot of times it's called butterfly shaped because it kind of looks like the wings of the butterfly, and then the isthmus is this connecting part in between. So larynx, your voice box, sits right above it. So that is what it looks like. The follicular cells produce two iodine-containing hormones, thyroxine, T4, tetraiodothyronine is the name for that.
That's a fun name.
And triiodothyronine, which is T3, more potent. And they regulate metabolism. Your thyroid is very important for metabolism of your body. Also iodine. A lot of the salts that you buy, you'll see contains iodine. So if you buy a container of salt, that iodine is needed, and it's very important for your thyroid. So both of these hormones, T3, T4, increase the rate at which your cells use the energy from carbohydrates, which is going to speed up producing new proteins and stimulates the breakdown and movement or mobilization of lipids. So it's going to increase the entire metabolism of your body. So people who are very thin and eat a lot and have high metabolism, and we hate all of them, they have a high rate. Their thyroid is working obviously very well. I had a friend in college who was very obese, and she had thyroid issues, and I felt so bad because she did not eat any more than any of the rest of us, and her body just did not process things the way that they were supposed to. So those hormones are essential for normal growth development also. Probably more often is thought about with the metabolism part. Thyroid hormones are the major factors of your basal metabolic rate. And also that's going to change throughout your life. During puberty, huge. Teenagers eat huge amounts of food and it doesn't seem to affect them very much. They go through that growth spurt and their BMR is very high. Then kind of once you quit puberty, then all of a sudden you can't eat quite as much because you've reached your official height. You're kind of done going through that spurt. And then as you age, so like at my age, my BMR is going to be lower than yours because it just will change as you age. The hypothalamus and pituitary gland are the glands that control your thyroid. Excuse me. So back up to the pituitary, that master gland is in charge of releasing your thyroid hormones. Iodine's needed, like I said, it's an important nutrient in order for your thyroid to work properly. You don't need huge amounts of iodine, but your body needs iodine. And both hormones are transported in the blood, and they're carried by proteins that are in the blood. Extrafollicular cells, so outside of those follicles, it does not come from those follicles. Extracellular cells secretes calcitonin, which lowers your blood levels of calcium and phosphate ions when they're too high. So calcitonin is going to basically help break down calcium. It increases the rate at which calcium is stored in your bones. It inhibits those osteoclasts. Remember, they break down bone. So it's going to slow them down, and you're going to store more calcium instead of getting rid of it. Calcitonin secretion is regulated by blood concentrations of calcium. So not so much the pituitary gland this time, as it has a way of measuring how much calcium is in your blood. And disorders of the thyroid then, hyperthyroidism is when you have an overactive thyroid. Your metabolic rate will be extremely high because it is going to produce more of those hormones and increase your metabolic rate. Hypo means under, so hypothyroidism, lower, and this would be my friend in college. Her thyroid did not release as many hormones as it was supposed to, and it lowered her metabolic rate. So those would be examples of thyroid disorders. And they are fairly common, and they're very varied. That you can have extreme hypothyroidism to very small amounts of hypothyroidism. And the table, this is in your book, that just shows the three main hormones of the thyroid gland. We'll stop there, and then we'll talk about parathyroid, which are on or attached to your thyroid.